Okay, thank you all for coming out to the May 13th racial equity meeting. This is the last meeting of the school year. Let's go ahead and get started. We have not met quorum, so we cannot officially adopt the minutes from March 3rd or March 4th meeting, nor can we approve of today's agenda. We can go ahead and skip down to public comment. There's no registered public comment, so we will start with board member.
That would be me. Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for being here. Since it's our last meeting, I just want to say thank you to all of you who consistently and helped to make the resource fair and forum a big success. Was that just last month? That was. Time is weird these days, but I thought the student voices and the student panel were absolutely amazing this year, and it was great to hear both their suggestions and the hope that they still carry with them. So I really appreciated that, and looking forward to, I can't believe summer is right around the corner, and looking forward to what next school year will bring to this committee. I know we've talked about setting some specific goals and priorities for this committee to work on, so I think as we enter into the next school year, hopefully we'll have some new committee members joining us. The application did close for applicants for next year. We did not get a lot of applicants for this committee for next year, so we may end up reopening it out and putting out another call for people to join, so we'll see what happens there. And then otherwise, from the board perspective, we are still working on finalizing the budget. We're actually in generally pretty good shape, I think. You know, we don't know any
Better than Montgomery County.
better than many other counties. So it is not at all like the past couple of years where we've had to go in and chop and then cut some more. We're in much better shape, even though we don't know our final budget numbers from the state, which always makes doing our budget a little tricky, but that's where we are. So thank you all for being here, and please come back when we reopen school in September to this committee. We need you. Oh, and I want to say thank you to Dr. Bell. She's not here, but that was going to be part of my comments tonight. She's served in leadership on this committee for 5 years now, and I'm sorry she's not here for her last official meeting, but if she's watching, thank you, Dr. Bell. You've been instrumental in this committee.
Senior staff comments. Speaking on behalf of Dr. Harris, Dr. Artis.
Did he give you any?
It didn't give me any.
That's okay.
I mean, I don't mind saying a few words. I'm a senior, but I'm not senior. I just want to echo what Ray Gallagher said, which was the resource fair was incredible. There were some really wonderful community members that were there representing their organizations. And I had chills listening to the students speak. They were absolutely incredible. And the staff team just really, for that to be their final performance, I thought was just really excellent. So it was my first, and I really appreciated everything all the hard work that went into it. Glad I could be of assistance.
There, we're going to switch gears into policy 117.
Let's do
We're going to do the board comments first. So as was stated, we had our community forum last month. It was nice. We had 11 community partners who came to support our students. There were so many positive comments. I didn't get any negative comments when speaking with everyone. Everyone who was there has already said that they will come back next year. So we have 11 verbally confirmed for next year. That was their first time seeing up close kids outside of their home speak with such commitment and ambition at that age. So that was very uplifting and definitely fuel for next year, the following years, because the work we do in this committee is necessary. As you know, Dr. Bell isn't here, but she has been such an instrumental force for this committee. This is her last year. We would have elections. She's not up for chair. So we have chair, vice chair, and secretary. Up for grabs, we would need nominations, but we don't have quorum. So if we could take this moment to call for a date that we can meet virtually so that we can have a full committee for next year. We need quorum. With us here, we have enough to set the date, invite the rest of the committee, and we would just need that one additional person. Is there a day of the week that does not work for anyone? The time is 6 p.m. to 8 p.m.
Are we doing it next week?
next week.
But we're looking for what day may work for the people that are here to be able to reach quorum so that we can have the elections. I don't think it will take the whole time, 6 to 8. It'll probably be a 15 to a half an hour meeting at most to have the elections. So are Mondays still, should we still look at Mondays for most people? Is that?
Just want to do
Monday.
it at the end of the week since the following weekend's Memorial Day.
Okay. So Wednesday, sorry, I'm on the wrong day.
Can we shoot for Wednesday?
Wednesday?
Wednesday, keep it on Wednesday.
So I won't be able to be there on Wednesday because it's a board meeting, but I also can't vote, so if you all can meet and have quorum, please go for it.
So Wednesday, the 20th, next Wednesday.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. I have a commitment with the governor's office. Anyway, so can we maybe should we maybe check to see the people that, I have to put my glasses back on. I think we should get confirmation on the folks that are not here when they're able to attend. Right?
I don't think so. It's gotta move.
But if we don't have quorum, then you have to push it back again.
But if people can't come in on this beautiful day, right? It's a very nice day outside. Or maybe they're going outside, but if they can't come today, I don't think they should. Could we even rely on them to vote on the day to come?
We need one more person.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I think if we just pick a day
Yeah.
soon-ish and then put it out there and we can do some follow-up to make sure.
Are we saying the 20th then? Is that what we're saying?
Yes.
If it would work for everybody in
But
this
it
room.
doesn't work for you, right? So.
It'll be virtual, it'll
Can
probably.
we do Thursday, the 21st?
Thursday, 21st, any objections?
I can't do Thursday the 21st. I can't do the 20th.
Does it have to be 6 to 8? It can't be during the day?
I have a flexible job. I don't know if we.
Oh, fair. Yes. Okay. I'm flexible if it's business hours. I fully understand if others cannot.
It's Tuesday, the 19th.
I could do 6 to 7. I have another committee meeting at 7. Spring concert at school, that's at 6:30. So, I mean, I could get on the
We
phone
do
probably. So, like,
5:45.
I
5:45 or the 19th.
can do that. 6. I have another committee that stops at 7. Oh, sorry. Instead of the school, sorry. I know.
6 p.m.
6 p.m. on the 19th?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, I'll send that to Catherine Rich so she can coordinate Google Meet and get it posted.
And it's Tuesday?
Tuesday,
Okay.
19th, 6 p.m.
Got it.
At that point, we would adopt our March meetings minutes, adopt our agenda for tonight, and then do elections.
30-minute meeting? Is that what you're saying?
At most.
At most.
Okay.
At this point, are there any nominations for the open positions. We have chair, vice chair, secretary. If we can nominate now, Tuesday would be smoother.
I will self-nominate myself
You nominating yourself?
for something. I don't know which one.
Chair?
Sure, I will nominate myself for chair if that's possible.
Uh,
I would need support because it's not my strength.
Any other?
You gotta help me out now.
I would nominate myself for chair as well.
Oh, okay, we got competition.
Be co-chairs.
Wait, so are we doing chair and co-chair, or are we doing?
We can decide that now. If we do co-chairs, we will remove the vice chair. If we do one chair, we have chair, vice chair, as we did this year.
What is the difference?
Co-chair started with Dr. Bell because,
No, I guess the difference in the role, the responsibility between, I know the difference between chair and vice chair and co-chair versus,
essentially there is not much. There was that co-chair because of Dr. Bell's position, and Denise was a community member, so they were able to piggyback off each other in moments where they needed a community member versus FCPS staff. But that was tailored for their term. This past year, Dr. Bell stayed in chair. I did the vice chair role. Chair was doing most of the correspondence, so you would be more responsible for sending out the email reminders. Vice chair was that background, making sure the meeting minutes went out, making sure the notes went out, making sure a lot of that support when that chairperson was not available to do that. Secretary treasurer, that is note taker. We put that back into one position as it was with our bylaws. That person is responsible for meeting minutes, taking attendance, and then sending that out to Ms. Catherine Ridge. So, 2 nominations for chair. So far, we have no nominations for vice chair and no nominations for secretary treasurer.
let's nominate Shantae. I nominate Shantae for
Secretary.
Is it
secretary.
Okay.
Okay. And I nominate Denise for vice chair.
Denise can't do it.
Declines your nomination.
Okay. So we can settle that later. On Tuesday's meeting, we'll have those nominations there. If there's any discussion, once there is a quorum, we can open that back up for a discussion. So at this time, I would like to give you the floor, Artie, to do a presentation.
To me? Did you say Arthi?
Artie?
Oh, sorry, okay. So I had requested so I also serve on the commission for South Asian American Affairs Commission from the Governor's Office. So it's really just representing the South Asian diaspora and making sure in terms of communication between the Governor's Office and the community, there is frequency and information is being transparent. So for our community fair last month, I requested a citation from the Governor's Office, and it was approved. And I was really quite excited because they're not always approved. So this is the citation, and I'll read it to everyone here. So it says here, FCPS, Governor of the State of Maryland, to FCPS Racial Equity Committee Annual Community in Action Fair. Be it known, because of your demonstration of high integrity and ability, meriting our great trust and respect, we are most pleased to award you the Governor's Citation in appreciation of your outstanding service to the citizens of this state. It is signed by Governor Wes Moore, Lieutenant Governor Aruna Miller, and Secretary of State Susan Lee. And I was quite excited when I found out that we were approved for this. So now the question really is, where do we house it? I think we can talk about that maybe. I think we should get a frame. I just didn't know, I want to share with you all first. So that's here. So well done. I thought it was really awesome to have recognition. I know that Governor Moore is starting to, or has already started to make more of a presence in Frederick County with a lot of the development. And so there's 3 community members that are representing Frederick County on the commission, which is pretty substantial considering we had 0 before I joined. So I thought, it's pretty substantial work that FCPS is doing, but also Frederick County for the state of Maryland. So I was very excited about this when we saw that it was approved. So I don't know where we're going to house it. We want to house it in the Office of Equity. I know it's, no one's, we can check on Dr. Harris, but yeah.
Thank you.
nice.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. Yeah. He hears a lot about FCPS. Governor Moore. We have the other 2 community members also have kids in high school and middle school, and they're pretty active within the community. So he always gets an earful about FCPS and Frederick County, so good representation.
He was here today.
Was he? Oh, nice.
I was not there, but yes, he visited our last year's teacher of the year today, this morning. I wasn't there, so I can't tell you anything about it. I saw some pictures and they look great.
Yeah.
It is on the map.
Thank you. Yep. So 117.
So for those of you who do not know me, I am Steve Lettis. I am Chief Legal Counsel for Frederick County Public Schools. One of the functions that I serve is as staff liaison to the board's policy committee, which Ms. Gallagher is on and is the chair of. We have, as you all know, Policy 117, which is the anti-racism policy. It was implemented in 2022, in November of 2022, and by its terms, it requires annual review. I don't know that it has actually gotten annual review in the past, but we are, one of the things that my office is doing is we're making a strong push to be more compliant with our requirements for review of policies. So this policy is scheduled to come before the policy committee next Wednesday. It has previously been before the policy committee just for discussion. We brought it in January. It was January, I think, maybe. We brought it to the policy committee just to hear what the policy committee's thoughts are and what their interests might be and how we might revise this. And one of the things we committed to then was to get feedback. And so we have brought this policy to a variety of groups. We took it to the Principals Advisory Council this morning. We took it to those other 2 groups we went to. You'll just have to trust me that we went to 2 other groups. And so we're trying to get feedback from a variety of perspectives on what changes do we need to the policy. As it is right now, we're not going to be proposing some really major heavy overhaul. We do have a new policy template, so we're going to apply this old format into a new template. But in terms of the substance, we're only tweaking at this point, but we're interested in hearing your thoughts. And so I understand you have done this process before with policies. So I'm going to pass around a copy of the policy. That should be enough. And then also the feedback form. So if you could take maybe 10 minutes, review the policy to yourself, mark up the policy if you want, use the anti-racism feedback form if you want to kind of record your thoughts. What needs to be clarified? What do you value in this policy? What concerns do you have about it? And what suggestions do you have for improvement? Those are kind of the 4 categories or areas that we're looking for feedback on. So if you take about 10 minutes, kind of review it to yourself, and then we'll break up into, I guess, really 2 groups, 2 and 3, and give you a chance to kind of caucus between you, and then we'll report back to the whole group. And then we'll take that feedback back and see what we can incorporate.
So this group did in fact look at this policy during our January meeting. So we went back and we did walk through this process. I think Dr. Artis and or Dr. Harris have our notes from that meeting. I don't know how many, probably you all were here because you all were here. Thank you. And so I don't know, we might not have to go through the entire process. Maybe we can just, from what we had discussed, if anybody has their notes.
Well, there were, I don't think it wasn't significant, but there were some changes.
Yeah.
Has that,
Bless you.
were those edits and recommendations implemented here?
Since this is the first I'm hearing of you in this conversation,
So I did, when I was on my computer, I sent the request to Ms. Rich for our meeting next week, and I sent a message to Dr. Artis and Dr. Harris about those notes.
so it is possible that they incorporated those comments into their feedback, because I've met with Dr. Harris and Dr. Artis several times in the process of preparing this policy for the policy committee's review. It's possible that they did incorporate those thoughts without specifically referencing these came out of the Racial Equity Committee's conversation in January. I just don't know, and because neither of them are here to speak to it, I can't say.
And I'll also just share with this committee for context, usually when we are reviewing policies that have, staff experts, they will attend that policy committee meeting and offer their edits, their feedback, their recommendations. And so I don't want you to feel like your feedback has not been taken. It likely is part of what they've already been thinking about in terms of policy updates. Because I do recall, based on our conversation, to Artie's point, there weren't a lot of significant changes, but I know we talked a little bit about language, like there were some language tweaks that we felt were particularly important to make some updates on. But as a whole, I think from the feedback from the groups, the policy was pretty strong and we wanted to keep it in place. So I don't know if there's anything that people recall from that discussion to pull out in particular.
I will say this. First off, I will make sure we go back, my paralegal and I will go back and make sure we can get our hands on those comments, whether it's through Ms. Rich, through Ms. Gallagher, or through Dr. Harris or Dr. Artis. Even if we can't incorporate the comments into the draft that we have uploaded to the Granicus portal, we can make proposed edits at the table. And so if we see that we did not include something that fits in policy, we can do that. I do think there still is value, though, of having you take another look at it. The world has changed in 3 months. 3 months ago, we weren't at war in Iran, and gas was about $2.25 a gallon. It's not now, right? So you reviewed it before, but you might have a new, fresh perspective. You might catch something now that you didn't catch before. So I do think even if we abbreviate it to maybe 5 minutes, it still would be a worthwhile exercise. There you go. 2 more minutes and then we'll break into groups? Or there's only 5 of us, we just come back as a group.
I think it's good to be flexible and meet the needs of the group.
All right. Well, let's, reconvene, come back together. We can talk through each of the 4 questions. I feel like I'm about to sit down for a Passover Seder. We'll talk about the 4 questions. Why on this night oh, sorry, wrong service. No, but in all seriousness, I do appreciate your taking the time to do this. So I want to hear, what do you feel needs to be clarified, either from your recollection of the comments from January or from reviewing it tonight? What needs to be clarified for you to really understand this policy? No, jump in, please. No order here.
I think just some of the language, this also came up in January, because this is going to be posted, it's gonna go out to the community. And we always want to ensure that the language that we're using is understandable at last I heard 8th grade level, but some said 6th grade level previously. So I think some of the language, maybe we can look to simplify a little bit.
Can you give a specific example?
I'll give you 2: affront, eradicate, animus.
Okay.
Yeah, animus was on our notes last time.
Reflecting the pluralistic nature of the community, I think, again, there's a lot of folks, English is not their first language.
Sure.
And so I think re-looking at some of that language, I think it would be helpful. The other 2 comments, again, are around language. Under curriculum, where it says, second bullet point, particularly those of historically underrepresented groups of color, there needs to be more. I don't know if maybe color, I don't know if color is the right word, or do color/community. If we're talking about people of color, maybe we say people of color versus groups of color. So I think just, again, do we say groups of people of color/community, groups of color/community? When you just say underrepresented groups of color, to me, it's a bit incomplete. And the only other comment I had was saying, under curriculum, the last bullet point, where it says here, to develop the following attitudes, skills, and behaviors: A, value one's heritage and the heritage of others. I think the word heritage can be understood vastly different from one person to another. This conversation I know we had, I think 2 years ago, when we were talking about the Confederate flag. Some recognize that that's their heritage. There's a discussion around the use of the word heritage. So I think for here, my recommendation is value one's lived experience and the lived experience of others. And then again, in the same bullet point, coming back to language, the richness of cultural pluralism and commonality. Again, not huge, but if we're gonna simplify language, then I think maybe we look at that as well.
Others?
I want to say I mentioned this last time, but if you're doing a new template, and this information in Claude, say, Claude, can you make this in plain English? See what happens. I'm not saying that jokingly. I'm saying that seriously.
I think that was the bulk of our discussion last time, was how do we make the language more accessible throughout the entire policy? So it is very targeting and education heavy.
Like higher education.
Higher education,
Geared towards higher education. And I think, yeah, just simplifying that language, I think would be helpful.
I think I have to use Gemini. I don't think I'm allowed to use Claude. Other feedback on what needs to be clarified?
I have one under hiring and training, on bullet 4. All FCPS personnel and volunteers who receive consistent annual training on preventing and responding to racism. I think preventing is very interesting. How do you train someone to prevent another person's bias? Maybe it's in the wrong spot or that "and" is wrong, but I think that's a big leap that you're saying you're training someone how to prevent a bias in a belief system that is inherently racist or bullying. Recognizing and responding seems like probably more aligned with what the training does. I don't think can prevent a child's or someone's thought process. And the second one is down in F, reporting and transparency. In that first bullet after that semicolon, every school and workplace should have consistent signage. I think should is a suggestive word. It's the only instance of should in this entire document, which is a suggestion. So school A does not actually have to be aligned with school B, but they should. Every other directive says shall, must, or will. So I think if we want every school and workplace to have consistent signage, we need to make it a mandatory word. Put it at shall or will or must. Those are my big two.
I would say with that fourth bullet, maybe, based off of just what you said, maybe preventing, maybe identifying and responding to racism. Identifying racist acts, I don't know.
So what do you value in the policy? Or what do you value about that there even is a policy?
I love that under policy statement, that first bullet, the second bullet where it talks about eliminating structural and institutional barriers to education and employment.
I mean, the fact that there is a policy, maybe all county public schools have policies, but at least that.
Actually, no. If
okay.
you check the other LEAs in Maryland, we are the only one that has a specific anti-racism policy. There was one other, and it's either Charles or Carroll, and I can't remember which. But back in, I think, November, they pulled the policy. I would call it decommissioned. That's the term we use here. They decommissioned that policy, and they actually made note in their conversation that Frederick is the only one after us that's after they decommission that will still have this policy. The rest all have anti-discrimination policies that are broader in scope because obviously racism is not the only discriminatory area. There are other sexism, anti-Semitism. I mean, pick your ism. But we are actually the only one that still has an anti-racism policy.
Well, the fact that there is a policy that we have it, at the very least, it may let the community know that this is taken seriously. Do we have some type of anti-discrimination?
We do.
Or we have other policies like this?
We have a broad anti-discrimination policy. It's been revamped and will go to the board for consideration sometime in the fall.
Didn't we take a look at, we looked at that, right? 'Cause that was the language we were looking at, or is that a different I forget the numbers. That was a different policy?
443.
443,
Yeah.
yes.
That is yet another policy. Others, any other thoughts on what you value within the policy? Speaking of the value of just having the policy in itself, in Frederick County, we're proud of the fact that we are a growing community. Our school system has been growing where other LEAs are shrinking. And I don't know that there's any way to actually assess or measure this, but I would be curious if there were a way to figure out or to poll, does the fact that Frederick County's public schools has an anti-racism policy, was that a motivating factor for you to move to this community? I mean, I don't know that there's any way to ever actually ascertain that, but it would certainly be interesting to know.
As a transient person, I do know that I was referred to Frederick County because it was safe for colored people, cultural families, so Maryland has his name out with Frederick in mind for being safe to raise kids.
So what concerns do you have? Besides the language being accessible?
I mean, I think overall it's a solid policy. There's a lot of language. There's a lot of language, but I do like that it's bucketed out, right? Between curriculum and culture, that does help. Is it wordy? Yes. I write policy for my day job, so this is very wordy.
You're hired.
So I think we need to be mindful who's our audience, and it's a wide, right? In the professional world, you know exactly who your audience is, right? It is very higher educated people. Here, I think we just maybe want to, under expectations for A, we maybe define some of these with less use of bullet points, can we?
So the new policy will have 0 bullets in it.
Okay.
I am a firm believer that bullets do not belong in schools. And I mean that in every meaning of the phrase. And so every policy that we have revised, and we have revised in the last 3 years 55 of the system's 90 policies, and there is not a single bullet left in any of them. They will be numbered and lettered, and it is intentionally we try and make it into smaller bites.
Yeah.
Now, with this particular one, I don't think, and I was looking at it this morning, so you'd think I'd have a better recollection. I don't think we made a lot of substantive changes, so I think what will end up happening is we may bring some further ideas to the policy committee next week, and that may end up having to go back to policy committee again, and that's okay, that's part of our process.
Yeah, that'll be easier for identifying, right? If someone has a complaint, they can say, under expectations, A2.
Yes, as opposed to the 4th bullet.
I am curious, and I don't need to know which groups, because what was the general takeaway after assessments and reviews of these by the groups that you did have them review?
Generally, that a lot of the concerns that were raised were things that really don't fall within policy. They're more within the regulation that supports the policy. So if the regulation is what the board wants, or if the policy is what the board wants, the regulation is how do we, as a system, implement the board's vision. And so a lot of the things that we heard were things that really fall within the regulation. Things like making reporting more accessible. Well, that's not a policy statement. That's an action that we need to take as a system that the superintendent can direct as part of the regulation that we have to support it. It was things like that. There were a few language tweaks. Our chief of staff did have, who oversees HR as well, she has proposed revisions to that entire section. And we are going to present that as we're leaving it the way it is, but here's the alternative that our chief of staff has
Which section?
the hiring and training.
Oh, okay.
That whole section, and she has proposed complete and total revision to. Many of her revisions I actually like. I think they are cleaner, easier to read.
Just more HR line.
Yeah. More in alignment with the work that our HR team is doing in recruiting staff. What other concerns? Or are there no other concerns? And then what other suggestions do you have for improvement? Are there areas that you feel like we're not addressing that could be addressing?
Not area specifically, but I think maybe this was also a comment back in January. We mentioned, this policy mentions the Racial Equity Committee throughout.
Mm-hmm.
I think it might be important to define what is the Racial Equity Committee. I don't think a lot of folks know that this committee, one, exists. And because we're using it in multiple places, I don't know if you put that under definitions, or I don't know if, you put it an asterisk
I think,
at the start, but I think we talked.
did Dr. Artis say it was like hyperlinked when it's gonna be online or something like that?
Oh, it is?
Yeah, I think, cause someone said that during the first time, and she was like, when there are things that are referring to proper committees, or she said it's hyperlinked when it's gonna be online.
We do a lot of that work where we're trying to make things easily accessible. So the new format, the new template that we use now has an entire section for related information where we can put links to other policies, to committee pages, to general information that may be of interest. That relates to the subject. So we have a whole section devoted to that. And then within the body, we also incorporate links. So if you're reading it online, you can click to it.
Okay.
And then we've also been, at least in the related information section, because you know what? It's really hard to click a link when I'm holding a piece of paper in my hand. We've actually been adding the URLs. So people, if you have a physical copy, you're still able to find the document. And we also have been using a bit.ly, a dedicated FCPS bit.ly URL for long, sometimes, you look at these URLs and it's just a random string of characters that nobody could ever try and recreate. So we've been using bit.ly links to help shorten and make it easier to access. But that all comes out when you see the new version.
Are the policies translated in other languages?
They are not. We don't have, I think our website, there's a button that you can click on that will translate the website, but I don't know if that goes inside the application where the policies and regulations are housed. At the moment, we don't have the resources to translate. I wish we did, I truly do. We have a few dedicated translators in our public affairs office, but their work is overwhelming already. To add the responsibility of trying to translate every policy and regulation would be crushing. I would need a staff of people to do that, to be honest. And I say Spanish because that's the only other language that we generally translate to, when the reality is there are other languages that we need to be translating them to, but we just don't have the resources.
Yeah, I mean, I think something you consider, right, is working smarter, and the use of AI with tasks like that, and then having the translators just review to
Proofread.
ensure, like, it makes sense, right, in terms of the human understanding of language. But I think that's important, for sure.
I think, a long-term, vision goal when the budget turns up and we have more resources available to us, for certain.
I know if concerns come in regarding a specific policy, that policy can be translated to that person's needs, just to help with that situation. But overall, we're still addressing the individual concern. I don't want that to get lost in conversation.
Does FCPS uses Microsoft, right? I like Microsoft Suite, Outlook, all that. Do they also use Copilot?
We have I think my laptop has Copilot on it, but the AI tools that we're approved to use right now are Gemini, and I wasn't kidding actually when I said
No,
that.
I thought you were. Okay.
Gemini is actually one of the approved tools, and that's Google's AI tool, and then Notebook LM, which is another AI tool. The nice thing about Notebook LM is it doesn't search the web. You put in the resources you want it to pull from, and then it will do whatever it is you want it to do, and it's actually kind of an impressive resource. And then my office, we have a legal AI tool that we're testing right now, but in terms of AI, that's kind of the scope of it at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're already within Suite, right, of Microsoft, and Copilot is available, it's incredibly. I mean, it's powered by ChatGPT, so it's not as analytical like Claude, but it's pretty helpful. And if it's already available to staff, then I would think you'd be able to use it.
So it's definitely available to the central office staff. I know that our school-based teams tend to use Google more than they use Microsoft. I mean, Amy, is that your?
That's my experience.
Amy's actually in the trenches in the schools, so she knows that side better and better than I do. So the bulk of our staff, I think, tend to be in the Google world more, which drives me batty, but it is what it is.
Going back to expectations, the second bullet, I believe we talked about in our last meeting, talking about the expectation.
The second bullet under which section?
I'm sorry, under A. Looking at expectations that asking for students, staff, community to report also. So I think that was part of our conversation last time. So it talks about what the system will do, but also adding expectations of what we want from our students, staff, and the community to report.
Any other suggestions? Well, like I said, I realize small group, only 5 people, but valuable. I learned a lot from this because I wasn't at the January conversation. So I very much appreciate your letting me come, join you all for the evening, hear your thoughts on this. The policy committee is during the day, so you won't be able to be there. But if you have flexibility and you want to come join the conversation, it's 9:30 to 11:30 next Wednesday, right here in this room. Like you do, we have a public comment section, so you're able to come and give public comment before we dive into the policies. And you can sit and listen to the conversation that we have about the policies. I think this is second on the agenda. I think we have one ahead of it. On what will be the agenda, but please come if you're able.
What I'll do, which I've done in the past when we talk about policies, I'll send out the information that's posted to the committee, so you'll see the red lines and what the recommendations are for that, and we'll have that, it should be posted tomorrow.
It was uploaded to our portal today, and I think Ms. Rich will release all of the agenda for both policy and board tomorrow.
So I'll send it out tomorrow to the committee.
If you can't make the meeting, you can always watch it back. It's not broadcast live, but it is YouTubed. It's recorded, so you'll be able to watch it back on YouTube.
Does an artist also attend?
They will attend because they are subject matter experts on this. They don't necessarily attend every policy committee meeting, but as Ms. Gallagher said, I know a lot, but I don't know everything, and I'm certainly not a subject matter area expert on most things. So I like to bring the people who know the most about them to the table, because I mean, you ask me a question about fire drills, and I'm going to say, yeah, they're important. We should have them. You want to actually have a substantive conversation about it, you need to have our security folks here. And so that's kind of been my approach to this, is I bring the people to the table who actually know what they're talking about. It seems to work for us.
Thank you guys for leading this. I know we've done it before, but
And we want to collect back from you all of those papers. So if you hand wrote it up, Amy's been taking some notes, and she's going to, I guess, work on the collating of any written feedback or comments you've made on here.
okay, before we get to this part, we had, as Ms. Gallagher stated, a couple of people who showed interest and applied for membership for next year. We will go ahead and refer all of those names to the board. They'll make their decision, and we'll see who is an official member once they're finished that process. And then if we aren't at our full membership, like you said, we may have to open it up again in this next school year. Other than that, committee corner, so this is the part where our little voices speak volumes. So if there's anything that we've experienced since that, the community forum, community resource fair, anything in our school, teaching, academic comments, this is the moment to address that so it can be, put on the agenda for future meetings.
I don't have, not for committee corner, but I was going to ask, what is the count of our membership? Like, what do we need? I thought it was reduced at one point, but maybe it's not.
For our current membership, we have 11 more slots left that we can fill for community members, community partners.
You were saying 11 for.
11 open seats.
We have 11 seats to fill for the new school year.
Yes.
What is the total membership for this committee?
17. Community members max, 3 school-based staff, 3 voting students.
Oh, 15 plus the 6. Oh, I see, okay.
30 total members, that includes the non-voting as well. We have 11 positions open. Not filled.
Do the students have to be high school? Middle school?
They would filter into a community member if not.
And what happens if we don't get 11?
Then we'll have more open positions, and that's when Ms. Gallagher said it would flag, so we could open up more applicants in the school year. So this year, we did not hit our 30. We had open seats. We did not advertise, but had those positions open. Right now, we did not get enough applicants to fill all of those seats, So that may flag us for the school year to advertise.
So I guess what I'm leading to is, normally this is will be going on year 5 for me. I don't think we've ever been lacking applications. So, and we've always had reviews and assessments of each applicant. So are we going to follow that same process if we're under that 11? So anybody that applies gets a spot.
No, we do not make that decision. We're recommending to the board the board has received the applicants. So they're going to review those and make a decision for going forward.
The board.
The board will. Yes.
So
We have sent recommendations previously when we've had more applicants than spots available.
Yeah.
Because we do not have more, they're going to review and make the decision themselves, since we are a board committee.
But I think
The question is, why don't we have a subcommittee meet
Yeah.
and review the
if we have 11 spots and we have 11 people that apply and the board says, okay, because again, I don't think some of the board members do not absolutely represent any of my values and what my outlook is. So I'm just concerned that if this process omits that portion of a review from this group, that's concerning to me. It's already on the heels of us not having enough applicants, which I don't recall in the past 4 years. Maybe I'm misinformed, but I don't think we've ever had an issue where we've had less applicants. I mean, people don't want to be on the review committee because it's a lot of work. Like, you're reading a lot of applications. So I think that needs to be discussed.
It's eye-opening that in the current climate, there are not more individuals that are interested in being engaged in racial equity. As to say, we did not review those applicants. If we want to create a subgroup to review them together, if you guys want to put input, we can do that. I think executive decision, I reviewed them, and just a executive work decision. But if you want to open, I can open that before we go forward. It's to the board to make that final decision.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, if we get 11 applicants, we have 11 roles, okay, perfect. But if the value systems don't align with what this committee, honors, then I don't know if that person,
Should be ready.
yeah.
I will. For the same time, we will have a subcommittee meeting immediately following today's meeting, and we can make those recommendations because the deadline is for tomorrow. It was, to be forwarded over to the board.
The deadline is tomorrow to forward the applicants.
The applications closed the 30th. They were reviewed. We're going to send those, but immediately following this meeting, we will.
So you did review them? Oh, has Dr. Bell reviewed them?
She looked at them.
Oh, okay, sorry, I missed that part, totally. I thought there was no eyes from this group
I thought the same thing.
onto that applicant pool. If you are telling me that both you and Dr. Bell have already reviewed them, I trust your opinion. I thought none of, like,
Saying
I thought it just went straight to the board.
Yeah,
we
that's
reviewed
what.
them
And-
within the executive board.
Okay.
I'm fully
And how many
comfortable.
applicants did we get?
7.
Okay. That does not include students, right? Because we have,
There were students in the mix as well.
oh, there are, okay.
So even still, we won't have met the quota for each.
Yeah, okay.
So
I had a family who is not, I'm Linganore, but they are not in the Linganore corridor, but they knew I served on this committee. They came to me, I'm gonna not be specific just because I haven't talked to them since, but they shared that at the school that their child is playing on a sports team, they felt that their child was being discriminated against. So I referred them to, I said, did you speak to the principal first? They said they didn't feel comfortable doing that. So then I referred them to that form to complete. I just want to make sure that that is the appropriate directive that I should have given them.
Thank you.
Discrimination in sports, guys. Enough said.
Yeah, enough said.
It's never happened. I don't know what you're talking about.
So, there's no quorum, so I won't take a motion to adjourn. But thank you guys for coming to the last meeting of this year. Thank you guys for your attendance, every meeting that you've attended. We have work to do. We will continue. Once we get our elections and the new executive board is created, we will start meeting to compile dates for the next school year. We have to get together the board presentation. So work will be done, work will continue to be done, progress is in reach.
When can, when you, I know we get past, you know, the election and, I know that we talked about this last month at the county fair. I think I really just need to have like a better idea of what is our mission and what are some of our goals for this new incoming school year. I think for me, I need to better understand what that impact actually is. I know 117, I think my first year here was when it was actually being presented and proposed, and that was monumental, right? And that's like something you can point your finger to and say, yes, this here, this is tangible. So I think for this upcoming new school year, it's disappointing that we don't have applicants, but maybe I can kind of understand why, right? Because I don't know, as a member, what impact we've actually had outside of Policy 117 and Policy 443 review. But things, I think we need to talk about actual tangible goals that we can point to say, for 26-27, this was our mission, this was our purpose, this is our value system. That language doesn't need to change, but these are the goals for 26-27. And I think for me, just as a volunteer, like I need to be able to point to say, okay, yes, we did this, this, and this, or we at least explored or tried to accomplish X, Y, and Z. You know, obviously in partnership with the board, partnership with Dr. Harris and Dr. Artis, but we have to. Like, I think for me, I'm coming on year 5, like you and I had this conversation, you know, my consideration to step down just because I just didn't necessarily feel that my efforts here were impactful, right? And so I think we have to talk about what are some of those goals, and those goals will change over time as things come up. But, you know, a perfect example is one of the students had talked about having some type of portal where she could access for information on various scholarships and programs. I brought this up to Dr. Artis last year when I think FCPS sent out like an email that the first now email blasts that go out and just notifying the community of scholarships that certain students had achieved, which is great. And so when I asked, when was the opportunity actually shared and pushed out? Oh, well, it wasn't. We don't have the bandwidth to do that. So to me, there is such a gap there. And I think if that's something that we can kind of put our heads together and work with the board and, Dr. Harris's office, I think we do it because the visual that you had for all of the scholarship awardees was not as diverse as you would like it to be. And so I think you don't know what you don't know. As a parent, if I don't know that an opportunity exists, then I don't know, right? It's not up to my child who's in 6th grade, it's up to me. Right? As the older they get, yes, they have more accountability. So I just think it's really important for us to identify what some of these goals are, hopefully with some new energy and some new participants, new approaches, new different ways of working. We can maybe look at 1, maybe 2 goals. Like, it doesn't have to, we don't have to reach for the North Star just yet, but I just think we have to. We just have to. We have to have something like a policy 117 that we can say, we worked on this, and this is what we're pushing for. And even if we just start the baby steps in 26, 27, because policy 117 wasn't just like proposed, it went through so many reviews and assessments and stages. I think we need to look at something for 26 for this upcoming school year.
I think that's the beauty of this small committee as well, because no voice can be in that background when everyone is here. And we did have that discussion, and you don't know what you don't know. And there are so many people, like you said, are coming here and creating this melting pot. I don't know all the sports. I don't know all the scholarships. I don't know all the classes. If we are committing to be on this membership, we are committing to equity. We can make equitable decisions. This is a recorded meeting. We can speak about scholarships. We can put stuff into, we invited so many people at the community forum. We had news people in the one previous. We have options to set a light, but we did focus so much on the community forum this year. Previously, we focused so much on SOCA, and SOCA was pretty much suggested that it should be its own entity because there are so many limits with it being under here. So the goals we had shifted, and we didn't pick up. We just focused on that community resource fair. So this is the moment to get aligned, figure out where we want to go, how we want to do it, and set that impact. We need commitment, we need attendance, we need work.
I feel like I've heard 2 campaign speeches.
Yeah, I'm gonna step down.
I mean, Artie, you might have just won an election. You didn't even try.
I think also, again, this is me going, full transparency, I had submitted my resignation because it's year 4 for me. And now going on with the Governor's Commission, and then now I joined a board recently of a nonprofit. So, for me, it's like all of us, time is of the essence, and I just want to make sure that I'm using my time wisely to make an impact somewhere, even if it's just moving the needle a little bit. And I think Policy 117 was my first year, and I remember being here, and that was like major. That was monumental for me, because I'm like, oh, we did something, right? And here we are talking about it 4 years later, right? So I think we need to reassess what is the core mission of this group. And also, I think maybe Dr. Harris or Dr. Artis can present out and push out a presentation on like where are we in FCPS? That hasn't happened in 4 years. I don't want to go searching for it because I'm part of the Racial Equity Committee, right? So if someone asks, I don't have an elevator pitch for that. And I think clearly 7 applicants, we need an elevator pitch.
I think I asked that question last year, right?
Yeah, so I think I was convinced from the community fair to not resign. And I said, okay, but we have to do things differently then. There has to be other goals. We have to define them, and like pen to paper. Like I need to see like pen to paper, this is what the goal is, this is how we're gonna achieve it, and at least we try. right? That scholarship portal, like, that's just gathering information and pushing it out and talking to the board about how do we do that. We have many avenues to create channels of communication. That's just one.
I'm gonna be a Debbie Downer on that one. I don't think that'll ever happen.
On what?
Scholarship. Anything like that with scholarships.
No. Yeah, no, it hasn't happened. And
I'm saying it won't happen. Parents are too competitive. They don't want other people to know scholarships out there when they can try for it. It is what it is.
Opposite of equity, though.
Sorry?
It's the opposite of equity.
And I hear what you're saying, but I have had a different experience as being part of this community. Because just like the story that I just shared about someone coming to me, they're not in my community. I haven't been with them since our kids played football or basketball or something like years ago, but they know I'm on this committee. And I've had multiple people that have come to me to ask questions about it because they know I'm part of it. So to me, that's a big deal.
That is a big
You know, to be able to talk about a committee or to come and share something here or to find out information and share it, like to me, that's a big piece of this for me. You know, it's great to give feedback on things, but for me, I'm about the grassroots. Like, how do I help families to get access to things that they don't know are out there? That's what this committee is about for me. So I'm listening to every presentation we've had and going back and sharing it, because to me, that's what this is about.
Yeah.
You know, in order for there to be equity, we have to be sharing what is available and sharing how everyone can get access to it.
Yeah.
And that's important.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think you have a different lens, right? Because you're within the system, right?
I'm in MCPS. I'm a principal in MCPS. I'm a mom in FCPS. So I'm here as a mom.
Oh, you're here as a community member. We have academics, right? They were part of. Yes, I forget her name. Sorry, she's a teacher at Tuscarora.
Yes, we do have
Yes.
full staff on the committee, correct.
So I think yes, you're right. To your point, yes, that is
So I think
absolutely.
everybody comes with a different lens, and as long as we put all those lenses together, I think we'll meet everybody's needs on the committee and beyond.
Yeah. I mean, the scholarship thing was flagged to me. Oh, no, not flagged to me. It was because I was the parent that asked. When was this pushed out? When was the opportunity pushed out? Because my child would have qualified. And, you know, the message was, we don't have the bandwidth. So I was like, okay, then let's figure out how we get this done.
Maybe that's what we use the community section of this meeting for. Maybe that's where we share some of the things that we want the community to be aware about, to be aware of. You know, like, this is taped, you know, everyone can see it. This is a way to start. And word of mouth is how a lot of things start spreading. So one parent sees it and they're like, oh, okay, did you see that rec meeting? And things start to spread. So there are ways that we can do it that it may not be a grandiose way to start, but if you start something small, it'll build. Don't give up, don't leave us.
We got her back.
I do know that the regular Board of Education meetings have become more salient in my personal networks, just because public comments and people bringing their personalities to that. We don't have that here. You like that?
Very polite way of saying that.
We're small, we aren't that first thing that comes to your mind. If you aren't looking for this space, you might not find it. So we do have to show up. We may have to go to the board meetings and say, hey, this Wednesday we have a racial equity committee meeting. The agenda is posted so we can, these topics will be here. We have that autonomy. We can go to that meeting, to spread word to this meeting, that can spread word and get more topics so that this community resource fair can have more than the parents of the kids who are there and actually solve problems, hear about problems, because I live in Brunswick, I'm around cows, I don't have all of the, you know, the information that happens in Frederick and TJ, so I have that separation. I have to actively search for issues. We don't have the same issues in my school, and that's why that should was so salient for me, because we don't have everything in my school because we don't have that demographic. We won't do anything if we don't do anything.
That's right.
And we lost our big ticket this year. We lost So Good. We have not put any effort into much. That's what the community corner came in, so that we can, this is how you do the steps. You just have to keep working. Have to spread word of mouth, like you said.
I also think, again, just going back to the fact that we only had 7 applicants this year. There was a gentleman at our last meeting, maybe it was in March or February, made a really great recommendation. You know, we have a pretty small footprint with the Community Resource Fair. So, do you know, and not that we need to discuss it now, but just something to think about, identifying other fairs that are taking place and joining. Is that possible? Is that feasible? Does that make sense for us? Or does it make sense for us to even have a table up somewhere? I don't know what's possible with the Board of Ed, and do we do that, do we not? Is it bylaws and all of that stuff, which we could figure out. But I think that if we are able to join another community fair or an event and have a table for the Racial Equity Committee, we're not selling anything, we're just offering services, right? And it's just another way for us to be out there. And if that's like on a Saturday afternoon, right? Like, I can commit, 4 hours to sitting at a table to talk about Racial Equity Committee for people that walk by. Just like we had our vendors, we would be a vendor, right? And so I just think we need to just get really creative, innovative on how we are pushing Racial Equity Committee, the existence of it, creating awareness, and then just making, working smarter. Like, instead of our own resource fair, do we, piggyback onto other resource fairs that already have a bigger footprint than we do? So that might be something for us to also consider. Those are top 2 things for me, the scholarship and the collaboration, were 2 goals that I was thinking, like, we just got to focus on, we just have to have a focus.
Thank you for the feedback and the information. Those are things that the executive committee can look at in planning to start at the beginning of the school year and to focus on goals and ideas and how to get there, and get staff to come in to say, what's our process now for scholarships? How does that get distributed to our students and to our families, and then understand, and then we can work together. So thank you for the information and for, again, sharing about what's happening within the community and speaking up so that people know about the committee and that people can come to you. I mean, that's a big part also. So thank you all for being here. It's been a very wonderful year, and appreciate all your support.
Well, thanks you for your support, Sabrina. You're always here. Even in other meetings, you're always here. So thanks for your support.
And to that point, all the committees had openings at the same time, and they closed at the same time, and at least 2 of the other committees, again, had a lower number of people apply than the spots needed to be filled. So it may not be just racial equity, however, to look at, Ray said that hopefully we can look at it again at the beginning of the school year to open it back up, and especially focus on, we need more students, we can focus on students when the school year starts, or again, opening it to the community, depending on what our numbers look like.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much going on. I mean, we all are aware of that, right? Globally, nationally, there's so much going on. So not that it's nice to hear that other committees also didn't get, but it's not an us thing, right? I think it's more of there's just so much going on. Folks are tired.
And from my understanding, that alarm that's going off is about weather. So,
Is there, oh gosh.
not yet, but there's an alert until 7:45.
Oh, good.
Thunderstorm.
Oh.
So,
So are you saying we should sit here for another 15 minutes, or are you saying we should run for the hills
if we
now?
want to adjourn now, you may be able to at least get in the car and avoid it, so, thank you all.
Thank you all.
Much, everyone.